what we're going to watch is something called the Bus Operators Continuous Improvement Team. It has no significance for somebody like me, but I'm posting it as a public interest item for current bus operators. You should be aware of this. Um, is it actually going to be? Is it actually going to happen? I mean, there's always all these promises of things to happen. Do they actually happen? I don't know. Do some people want some good things to happen? Of course, you know. I know I spend a lot of time smashing TriMet, but I know as well as anybody that there's lots of good people that work at TriMet that are trying to do a good job. They're not all evil executives. Only Neil and his close cadre of executives are what I consider to be evil, in the sense that, you know, they're not having any problem hurting people around them while they themselves get rich. But are they trying to improve things there? I don't know. The feedback I get from my sources is that it's a horrible working environment there. You know, and of course, everybody there is scared to say anything publicly. They have the example of me. Okay, is you want what happened to Al to happen to you, and don't forget, I documented all this abuse that I was getting back when I was getting it. I was called into the office a dozen times, and every time it was a blog post. So people were well aware of what happens to you when you don't when you don't follow orders. Anyway, I'll post this. Current operators can listen to it and see if they can glean any hope at all from this.
And if you recall, this is a process in which we are engaging employees to help us solve a variety of issues that have arisen as we evaluate our operation. So this morning I'm joined by Rob Potts, who's the manager of safety assurance, and also with me is Kyle Newell, who is a member of the Bus Operator Continuous Improvement Team. So with that, I will have Rob provide an overview of what this team, what their mission is, and what work has been performed to date. And if you look at the screen, you'll see each one of the members. And Rob will also explain the composition of this particular team.
President and board members, I'm happy for the opportunity to do this. Let's see if I can figure out how to work the... No. Okay. Okay, there we go. All right. We've put the team together with 8 operators who are currently on our runs. We have some full-time, some mini run operators, and we have 4 from the Center Garage, 2 from the Merlot Garage, and 2 from Powell. A few more from Center because that's our biggest garage. We have the most buses running from there. We also have a member from our employee communications team, the transportation training, a maintenance manager with us, assistant transportation manager, and safety programs, which is myself and my Tracy Hamer, who's with me. The activities that we're concerned with are current bus acquisitions, bus updates for our fleet, modification requests, operator work environment, and proposed changes to the fleet. Now, some of the things that we're really interested in this is our operators have some very good input into their work environment. And they're driving those buses up to 10, 12 hours a day and several days in a row. And it's a chance for them to tell us what their work environment's like and what they see as possible improvements that could take place. And so we're working together as a team to examine these particular aspects. One of the things that came up was we had a visit from APTA, and they did a review of our fleet and our training and a few things. One thing they noticed is that our mirror configuration was different on the buses. It wasn't consistent. We had sometimes the convex mirror above the main mirror, sometimes below the main mirror, sometimes toward the outside, different things. So we went and looked at all the buses, got the team engaged, and their decision, along with input from many of the operators, was that the convex mirror should be located below the flat mirror in the configuration seen on the screen there. It provides the most flexibility for them and adjustability to be able to see what they need to see on the left side of the bus there. So it's that determination is made, and it's a standardized format now for our buses, and we're working to get the mirrors all in alignment, so every time they get on a bus, even though the mirrors themselves may be a little bit different, they'll be in the same positions, and the bus drivers won't have to guess or look around and try to reorient themselves from bus to bus. Another thing, we've done a few ergonomic studies on our buses and gathered a lot of very valuable data, and the team sifted through a lot of the information that was given and came up with several inputs for improvements, and these are just some of the things. The ergonomic reports themselves suggested that our pedal angle and force application might be changed, and so we've looked at that. The steering wheel diameter was a little large, so we've actually brought it down a couple of inches, and this helps some of our what we call vertically challenged drivers with shorter arms and things like that, and brings things into better reach for them also. Whole body vibration, that's something we studied because of the seats and how much shock the drivers get when they drive, and just general vibration from driving the bus. And we've got a very improved seat in the 3100 series, and it seems to be working out fairly well. Most people like it, and we're continuing to investigate there. Reach distances and switch positioning, very important. As the driver sits in the seat, how far do they have to reach, and do they have to lean, and do they, whatever, to get to the switches necessary. So those are things we've been considering. We're working definitely to improve the bus fleet. We feel we've got the best fleet going, and we're trying to make it better across the board for our drivers, but also for our passengers, for the folks who come on board and ride with us. So it's a challenging environment, but one that I've been very impressed with our operators stepping up and being really concerned, especially about the passengers. Okay, some changes for the 3200s is we have decided to go to that 18-inch steering wheel. The turn signal floor switch placement was a little close to the sides on the floor and was giving them some problems with their feet and actually being able to push the switch. And so we had them moved in a little bit so they're better and they can control things, and it's a lot more comfortable. The kneel switch itself has been relocated, and I'll show that here in a minute. There's been a request for a rear door external porch light that comes on when the rear door opens. Several of our operators noted that their passengers in the evening have trouble seeing when they get off at a stop from the rear door. And so that's a request that's gone in. And the kneel and ramp warning tones are going to be fixed at 85 decibels. They've kind of ranged a little bit, sometimes very loud, and 85 is a good decibel level to hold it. It draws attention but doesn't hurt the ears, and so that's something that's important. Also, the accelerator pedal pressure has been reduced. And that's important. A person who drives all day long and has to be moving that foot up and down on the accelerator, if it's too hard, it definitely wears you out in a hurry and causes muscle problems and other things. One of the reasons we're so interested in the ergonomic changes is across the board, we've had a number of complaints over the years from what we consider musculoskeletal strains, just a little bit. And the ergonomic changes that are being made are to help in relation to this and to make it more comfortable for the drivers to operate. The Neil switch, which is currently located down on the right-hand side of the dashboard, requires the driver to reach past the steering wheel and through to the board. And for a person like myself or several of our drivers who are fairly long-armed and things, it's not too much of a problem. But some of our short drivers have trouble reaching through the wheel and getting to that distance. So we've made a change, and we're locating the switch over here on the left-hand panel in that position right there, which is just real close to the driver. It's real easy to reach and everything, and it's the Neil switch. So it's one that they can go ahead and activate and still be able to look for passengers and other things. So, and that's the porch light where we're recommending putting it up on the frame of the bus there over the doors. We are taking a team trip down to the Gillig plant. We felt this was something that will enhance our team's ability in understanding how the buses are manufactured and how changes are implemented and things like that. It will help us in the mission. And that's scheduled the 19th of May. Here we'll be down there for travel down for a day and spend a couple days at the plant going through and seeing things, getting some briefings, and then come back. But it's a good educational opportunity for the operators and for the rest of us on the team. So there's a lot more work ahead. It's a little difficult to see there, but we've got a light panel that's above where the driver sits in the cockpit, and it's got a lot of warning lights and other things up there. But right now it requires the driver to look up, take his eyes off the road to see things. So we're proposing moving some of the lights down to the dashboard area, the ones that are necessary during the operation, and that's being reviewed right now. We have a timeline. We've got 60 new buses in production right now that'll be coming to us soon. We've got the trip to the Gillig plant. 30 more buses go into production in July. A lot of the input that we've had will show up on those new buses. We have a 30-foot bus build coming up at the beginning of 2015, but we've managed to get Gillig to send a pilot bus up to us in October. And so our operators will be able to evaluate that bus before it goes into production. And if there are some suggested changes or something, they'll be discussed at that point. And that will really help. In November, we figured we've been working hard that the bus operator committee will stand down for a couple of months or a few months. But we won't discontinue the process. The bus operator safety committee will review any more comments and suggestions that come up. And if necessary, we can always bring the continuous improvement team back online whenever it's necessary. And we've got the 22 more buses in production in January. Those will be 30-foot buses. And hopefully the review in October helps us along with that production run. Then in March, the Transit Cooperative Research Program will be releasing a study on bus operator workstation design. It should be in March. It's roughly in that area. Could be a little later, depending on how fast they finish the research. But they hadn't looked at this particular subject for 15 years. So it'll be interesting when the new report comes out and the operator workstation designs that they're considering and suggesting at that point. We will probably bring the BOSIT back together for a review of that report and get our comments in on that and what we feel is applicable for TriMet. And do I have any questions?